So one of the most common mistakes that you may make when it comes to wig making is sewing pieces of the cap underneath because you didn't pay attention and make sure that nothing was underneath. That happens. Even if you are paying attention, sometimes it just kind of creeps its way in there. So as you can see, I have I can't have my closure sewn on like that. That on the inside, that's not what we want it to look like. We want it to look just as clean as it does on one side to the other. So I need to take this loose and probably reattach the this is a zigzag stitch, but I might have to reattach or resecure that area. So what you want to use is a seam ripper, and this is a very easy, just putting it through the threads. It's easy to see black threads. It's not so easy to see threads that are transparent, like what you should be using if you're doing any kind of colored hair, like blonde hair. But for black wigs, I use black thread because it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to see. It still looks just as professional. But if you run into this issue, this is exactly what you need to do. It's just like working with clothing and you try to sew something and then the seam, it isn't quite right, or it doesn't finish quite right, or it doesn't align quite right, whatever it may be, you would use a seam ripper. So I'm gonna continue this out, and then I'm going to check to make sure. So see, that makes it very clean, so you don't tear, you know, your cap, you don't tear your closure. And I can go through this and see if it needs to be resecured. So I'm going to go through here, and I know it's this one, and I probably didn't need it to go that far out. So I'm just going to pull whatever threads and check for security. Looks like it's down and it's fine. So I'm just going to cut whatever this excess off because I really don't need it. And that gives the inside of your wig a little bit more, it looks better. I'll just say that. It looks better on the inside. So there you are. So if you come through this common mistake and that happens, just use your seam ripper and then secure if you need to, which I probably will go ahead and secure this a little bit better because this is sitting over in there and it shouldn't be. So I'll need to cut it up to pull it back up. Let's see how the other side looks. Not bad. And just do a quick stitch right there, whether by hand or not. And yeah, so that's usually a common mistake, but to check for that, for things like that, just use a seam ripper. So a seam ripper looks exactly like this. It looks like a hook. It's very pointy on one side, so it's kind of sharp, so be very careful. And then the other side has a little ball on it, and this is where you would put it through garments so that you don't tear or poke a hole into it. This side is to be able to get underneath the threads itself so you can cut. And that curve, that loop at the bottom is just as sharp so that it can cut through the thread. So yeah, use a seam ripper for that. They do have them in smaller sizes as well, but this is what's going to help you when you make any kind of mistakes. It happens, so that's the remedy for it.